Good morning, all of you. In today's session, we are going to start with the 10th standard chemistry and physics, unit 11, principles of metallurgy. Series number 2 is going to be discussed. In the earlier session, we got introductory session to this metallurgy. What could be the meaning of this metallurgy and how can we collect metals from the earth crust and even oceans, and what kind of process possible during the extraction followed by purification and remaining all these. And what simple glance we got from this metallurgical process. This is simply a recollection of our previous concepts, right? And how many ways metal can be applied, what kind of applications we can find for various metals, all these were discussed in the earlier session. In continuation to all these, we entered into series number 2, where we are going to discuss about simple principles regarding this metallurgical process, right? In addition to all these, unit number 1 to unit number 10, entire detailed explanation available on the channel called World of Competitive Chemistry. Let us enter into the series number 2 of unit 11, principles of metallurgy. So here we got the question based on this principles of metallurgy, think and discuss kind of question. Do you agree with the statement all ores minerals, but all minerals may not be considered as ores? What could be the reason for this one? Yes, absolutely. Because mineral is nothing but the material which found in the earth crust, which is a crude material where metal present either in the minor or maximum extent, either in the smaller content or larger content. So in that manner, that mineral may contains a range of percentage, so that may be extractable or not. But some extent of metal present may be regarded as mineral. Maximum extent is present, that also considered as a mineral. But ore is nothing but where we can find the maximum percentage of this material, maximum percentage of extracting metal, and that will be a profitable and to be economical. So in that case, you can regard this as a ore. So where lower to higher percentage, all materials comes under minerals, all minerals are not suitable for the extraction. Among all the minerals, the ores with the higher content of metal, then only suitable for the extraction. So that's the reason why all ores are the part of minerals, but on all minerals may not be regarded as ores. So this is about the proper answer for this one. So I collected this answer from Ease course. Thank you very much for your valuable information. Now we are going to perform the activity based on these principles of metallurgy. Look at the following ores and identify the metal present in each. So first of all, we are going with the bauxite, being it is the most abundant metal in the earth crust. I'm not saying most abundant element. Element is oxygen, but most abundant metal will be aluminium, and it's a profitable extraction carried from the ore called bauxite. So it's a suitable ore will be bauxite, whose formula will be Al2O3 2H2O, which is called the alumina dihydrate. Hydrated aluminium oxide. We can say hydrated aluminium oxide. Otherwise, alumina dihydrate is also possible in order to pronounce this one. From this, you can extract the maximum extent of aluminium, being it is a lightweight metal, can be employed in the various applications. Aluminium utensils are present, and aluminium fabrication is also present in the automobile region. So this is about bauxite, most abundant available. And this is about copper. Copper is extracted from copper iron pyrites. It is a blend of both the metals. One is copper, second is iron. So here it is composed of copper iron disulfide. CuFeS2 is called a chemical formula of this copper iron pyrite, and this chemically denoted as a chalcopyrite. So here copper iron pyrite is called chalcopyrite. Okay, so here already we know, we are most familiar that copper is the most important alloy in the case of what we can say brass and bronze kind of alloys, and copper is most prominent for electrical conduction as well. So that here it is the most important metal which is a part of our daily life, right? So this is about copper. Let us move on to any other zinc blend. This is the ore called a zinc blende from which profitable extraction of zinc is possible, and it is made up of zinc sulfide, the chemical name denoted as zinc sulfide, and which is mentioned as ZnS. ZnS is the chemical formula which eventually called zinc sulfide, from which profitable extraction of this zinc metal is possible, right? So this is about the extraction. So zinc is also alloy of bronze. Bronze is the alloy of zinc and copper, right? So apart from this, so many kind of applications you can find with this zinc as well, right? So this is another, and move on to magnesite, where magnesium carbonate will be there. So magnesium carbonate is the major composition of magnesite, where profitable extraction of magnesium is possible from this ore, right? So here it is chemically denoted as, chemical name of the compound is magnesium carbonate, and the chemical formula will be MgCO3, right? So from which we can conveniently extract metal magnesium, right? And next is about Epsom salt. Epsom salt is chemically denoted as MgSO4 7H2O. So nothing but magnesium sulfate heptahydrate. We can say an IUPAC name, magnesium sulfate heptahydrate it will be, and we can simply say hydrated magnesium sulfate as well. And here, this is the kind of Epsom salt where we can use this for tasty food cooking, and it is also the source for the extraction of magnesium metal. And next is about horn silver. Horn silver, where formula will be silver chloride, and it is composed of AgCl. The chemical formula will be AgCl, and the chemical name is denoted as silver chloride, right? So from which we can extract the convenient percentage of silver metal. So silver can be extracted from horn silver. Within this we have silver, and this is the ore, suitable ore for the extraction of silver metal. And next is about pyrolusite. So pyrolusite is the ore of manganese, where it is present in the oxide form. Manganese dioxide is called pyrolusite, and manganese dioxide is the chemical name. MnO2 is the chemical formula from which we can conveniently extract the manganese metal. And next is about iron. So already we know that the maximum extent of all kind of metallic instruments are made up of this iron. Maximum extent, I'm not saying all machinery or all the things, but maximum extent it is possible. So here the important ore of this iron will be hematite. It exists in the form of Fe2O3, which is denoted as iron oxide. Iron exists in plastic oxidation state, and it is suitable for the extraction of pure metal of iron, from which we can extract iron. It is the oxide form. Chemical name will be iron trioxide. Chemical formula will be Fe2O3. This is called hematite. And move on to another zinc. Just now we saw zinc blende, that is sulfide ore. Here we saw zincite, which is the oxide ore, right? So zincite is available here, the ore which is present, and where zinc and oxygen bonded with a double bond, and zinc oxide is a colorless substance. Being it is D10 system, we can't find any color to this one, but its ore being it is a combined compound. Here it existing a colored one, and the profitable extraction of zinc is possible here. And next is about rock salt, right? So it is extracted from the marine ocean region. It is the maximum content present in the marine water, and this varies from ocean to ocean, and the region, geographical region. So all these are the deciding factors for the percentage of the sodium chloride. So here sodium chloride is prepared by evaporation followed by crystallization process, and here rock salt is composed of NaCl, and the maximum content of sodium will be there in this, right? So this is about either mineral and its subsequent extracted metal, where it is a halide kind of ore. Next is about cinnabar. Cinnabar is the ore of mercury. We already know that one and only one liquid metal is a mercury, and this mercury cinnabar cinnabar mercury exists in the form of sulfide, and here you can find a double bond between mercury and sulfur. Hg double bond S will be there, and chemical name will be mercury sulfide. chemical formula will be HGS, and the ore will be cinnabar. Cinnabar is the ore for the extraction of mercury metal. And next is about magnetite. We already gone through what ferrite previously, and ferrite hematite is there, Fe2O3, iron 3 oxide, Fe2O3 was there. Now we entered into magnetite, Fe3O4. This is slightly different when compared to this hematite. Fe2O3 is there. Here we have Fe3O4. One iron got increased, and that is nothing but concentration of iron got increased here. Here, iron exists in some extent of iron is in +2 oxidation state, some extent is in +3 state. So, which is given as iron +2 +3 oxide, where ferrous ferric oxide is the chemical name of the compound. You can denote with either of the name here, and it is a magnetite eventually from which we can extract iron metal. And another is about galena. Galena is ore for lead, and again here we can find a sulfide. And this is chemically denoted as a lead 2 sulfide 2 is oxidation state of this metal which is present in this compound, and galena is the name of this, and pure metal lead will be extracted from this one. And next is about gypsum. Gypsum is a ore of calcium, where calcium sulfate dihydrate will be there. Two water molecules will be associated with this calcium sulfate, which we can say hydrated form of calcium sulfate, which is very important in the constructional purpose, and even further subsequently converted into plaster of Paris as well, from which profitable extent of calcium will be extracted here. Next is about limestone. So limestone is basically carbonate ore, and here extraction of metal is calcium is possible, and it is the primary material for flooring. Marble floor are made up of this limestone, and even chalk, what we are using in the classroom for chalk and talk content delivery, and in that manner calcium will be extracted from this limestone, which is made up of calcium carbonate, and it is the carbonate ore of calcium. Move on to another one, cornellite. It is a blend of potassium and magnesium. It is in the form of hydrated state. Hydrated form of potassium magnesium chloride is called a cornellite, and here we can clearly say what hydrated potassium magnesium chloride. Hydrated potassium magnesium chloride is the chemical name of this one. This is called a cornellite, and from which profitable extraction of potassium is possible. And magnesium also can be extracted from this one because it is a blend of both the metals. So we can extract magnesium even from this Epsom salt as well. Epsom salt is also composed of magnesium sulfate 7H2O, and here cornellite is a blend of potassium and magnesium, both the metals are present in this manner. So here different ores, specific kind of ore having specific composition, and that may be chloride, that may be oxide, that may be hydroxide, that may be sulfate, that may be what we can say carbonate. So either any kind of what composition that may exist in the earth crust, otherwise in the oceanic region, so that extraction into a pure metal is possible in the sequential manner. Now we have another assignment here. We have to segregate all the ores into oxides, sulfides, chlorides, carbonates, and sulfates. So here, as we already know, aluminium is profitably extracted from bauxite, which is the dihydrated form of alumina, and lead sulfide is there, that is a sulfide ore, and a chloride ore, this is called what cornellite. Calcium carbonate is a limestone. Calcium sulfate dihydrate is a gypsum one, which is a sulfate ore. In this manner, we can segregate all these. Fe3O4 is there, Fe2O3 is there. Here, Fe2O3 is a magnetite, and Fe3O4 is a hematite. Zinc oxide is there. Zinc sulfide is also there. So zinc oxide is called zincite, zinc sulfide is called zinc blend, silver chloride is called horn silver, sodium chloride is called rock salt, magnesium carbonate is there. So magnesium sulfate 7H2O, Epsom salt is there. So this copper iron pyrites is there. here different kind of ores can be segregated into oxides, sulfides, chlorides, carbonates, and sulfates based on their composition. Let us go with one more time, because it's the most important to know about what is the composition of individual ores. Bauxite is the oxide ore where Al2O3 2H2O will be there. Copper iron pyrite is copper iron disulfide will be there. And next is about zinc blend. It is a zinc sulfide. Magnesite is a magnesium carbonate. Magnesite is a magnesium. Epsom salt is a magnesium sulfate 7H2O. And horn silver made up of silver chloride. It is a chloride ore. Pyrolusite is manganese dioxide. Manganese dioxide is denoted as a pyrolusite. Hematite is a iron oxide, iron plus 3. You can say ferric iron oxide it will be. And a zincite is made up of ZnO. Next is about rock salt halide chloride ore. Mercury sulfide is called a cinnabar. And Fe3O4 is called a magnetite. Lead sulfide is called a galena. And gypsum is calcium sulfate dihydrate. Limestone is calcium carbonate. And cornellite is a potassium chloride, magnesium chloride, hexa water. So in this manner, we can segregate all of them into oxides, sulfides, chlorides, carbonates, and sulfates as well. And this is about what metals we can extract from all these aluminium, copper, zinc, magnesium, manganese, iron, sodium, mercury, calcium, lead, and potassium. These are the metals suitable for the extraction from these minerals, which we tabulated here. And can you arrange all these metals in the order of their reactivity? Absolutely possible, because their reactivity will be varied from different groups. So almost all similar group elements are having identical kind of properties based on their outer shell electronic configuration. That's the reason why chemical properties in the similar group will resemble. But there is a slight variation among them regarding their reactivity. Potassium, higher reactive here, and followed by sodium, and calcium, magnesium, followed by aluminium, carbon, zinc, iron, tin, lead, hydrogen, copper, silver, aurum, platinum. All these are regarded as noble metals. These are regarded as noble metals. So this is about the reactivity of metals which are described in this tabular form. Now, what do you notice in the table 2? So table 2, it is very obvious that most of the metals either exist in oxide or sulfide forms. These are the most common forms. You will notice that ores of many metals are oxides and sulfides. That's the reason why oxygen sulfur groups are called. So oxygen sulfur both are the part of 16th group only. That's the reason why these are together denoted as chalcogens. Oxides and oxygen and sulfur, because these are the elements which are having provision to combine and provision to form the minerals in the most of the cases because of high reactivity. That's the reason why these are denoted as chalcogens. Chalco means what? Ore forming. Chalco means what? Ore forming. So here most of the metals exist in oxide and sulfide form. That's why these 16th group elements are provisionally regarded as chalcones, ore forming materials, ore forming elements. Now, the metals like potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium are so reactive, never found in the nature in the free form, and these are regarded as reactive metals. As already we gone through this table, and this is about the reactivity, and here you can find the native metals called noble metals, and high reactivity elements never found in a free form. And next is about moderately. Moderate in the sense not, most probably S block elements are having the provision. So here you can find potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, all these are the part of S block. Alkali and alkaline earth metals are denoted in these S block elements. That's why these are regarded as reactive. And move on to any other. Zinc, iron, lead, all these are the part of what? D block element. These are called a transition. These are the bridging elements in between S block and P block. Hence, we can say these are moderately reactive. Because of its moderate reactivity and variable oxidation states, so these are suitable for the catalysts. So in so many cases, in the laboratory activities, in the variety of applications, you can find catalysts which are made up of transition metals only. So that's the reason why here transition metals are having moderate reactivity. They are bridging between S and P block. They are in between. And next is about the metals like aurum and silver, which are extremely stable. Hence, we can say these are noble. And next is about based on the reactivity, we can arrange metals in the descending order of their reactivity. So here just now we saw noble metals are there, moderately reactive and highly reactive metals are available with us, so that we can segregate all of them into three categories. Potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum are the part of high reactivity. Zinc, iron, lead and copper of in between bridging one, whereas mercury, silver, platinum, aurum, all these are the part of noble nature. And move on to, can you think how you get these metals from their ores? Yes, it is possible by the chemical reaction called reduction. How can we say it is a reduction? Because anyway, metal available is in the form of either oxide, sulfide, carbonate, bicarbonate, sulfate, halide. So these are the forms of metals in the earth crust. So while extraction, what we are doing, metal initially is in plus n state. That means that depends upon its valency. That may be +1, +2, +3, whatever. Right. Later, it will be turned into a metal of zero oxidation state. Any metal with a plus n oxidation state turned into zero. So that is requiring capturing of electrons. Seeking of electrons, gain of electrons obviously denoted as a process called reduction. That's the reason we always, during the metallurgy, here metal get turned into a pure one by the addition of electrons. That process is chemically named as reduction. Now, let us see another question which we got here. Does the reactivity of metal and form of its ore, the ore may be either oxide, sulfide, chloride, carbonate, sulfate, has any relation with the process of extraction? Can we find the distinction between the method of purification with its composition? Based on its composition, it is possible to choose the type of extracting process. Yes, indeed, it is possible, because when copper present in the oxide form, the suitable way of purification will be Pauling. When magnesium is in oxide and chloride form, the way of purification is electrolysis. In this manner, aluminum, when taken Hoops method, that is a series of electrodes will be inserted, and electricity is supposed to be passed through this one, and extraction will be possible. Iron, lead, copper, tin, all are when present in sulfide initially, that in turn turned into oxide form. So that process is called roasting. So in this way, based on the type of composition, based on the metal associated with other elements, it is possible to choose the distinctive method of purification. It is required. So first of all, we have to analyze what kind of composition there is there in the mineral, and what is the suitable strategy in order to extract, in order to purify further. Right. So in that manner, there will be a distinctive steps in order to extract crude metal into a pure one. How are the metals extracted from the mineral ores? I collected this answer from Brainly. Thank you very much for your valuable information. Ore is extracted from the earth crust by the process called either mining or treated. Mining process is possible and further subjected to refining, and most oftenly we will go with the smelting, calcination, roasting. All these processes are possible, and finally we will get a valuable metal and the minerals are possible. So in this way, extraction of metal, from the earth is scientifically named as a mining process. Mining may be open cast mining or underground mining. That depends upon the localization of that mineral in the earth crust. Some may be present near to the earth surface, some may be present in the deeper crust of the earth. So that depends. So the process of extraction is denoted as mining, and during mining process we are extracting the crude product, and later it will be subjected to various chemical methods, various kind of approaches we are going to apply in order to separate the pure metal from the crude one. So by this, we completed the session. Hope this session will be helpful for your preparation. Thank you very much for your consistent listening. Thank you, one and all.